We're going to break down Gervonta Tank Davis's career. We're going to see, does Gervonta Tank Davis, or we're going to actually answer the question, in my opinion, whether or not Gervonta Tank Davis is a top 10 fighter in the world, pound for pound. All right, at the end of this video, I will answer that question. So let's get to it. Welcome back to Boxing and Rap. If you're new here, please like and subscribe and comment down below. Share this video. My name is Ahmed the Artist. I'm an artist who loves all things boxing and art. So if you like that kind of thing, I sometimes put my art up here, and then sometimes I put some anime in the background. But right now we're going to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis. So welcome to our discussion, right? In the pound for pound rankings in boxing, we're going to address some common misconceptions. Like, is Gervonta Tank Davis truly a top 10 pound for pound fighter? Okay, so listen. Here's how this is gonna play. We're gonna get some categories that I jotted out, and we're gonna go into the skill sets and things like that, right? So right now, we're gonna define pound for pound. Pound for pound is the ranking is not just, remember, by raw talents, combination of skill, competition, face, dominance in the ring, consistency over time. Let's evaluate Tank Davis against these criteria, right? So we're gonna go with a skill set. First off, let's talk about skill. There's no denying Tank's speed, power, reflexes, but his technical prowess falls short when compared to some of those other top-tier fighters in the pound-for-pound rankings. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Tank Davis, one of his things is that he gets, he has good footwork, right? Good footwork, but sometimes he doesn't move his head as much. Right, his feet help him and his waist move his head, but he kind of stays stationary at times, gets countered over the top, and he's slow to start, right? Almost as if he doesn't come in with a game plan. Like, he's kind of figuring out the game plan as he goes along, which, hurts his technical prowess, right? His jab is not the best jab. He has a prodding jab, or I should say, like he's looking for information, but it's a jab that's not consistent, right? It's not a jab that sets up a lot. He uses a lot of his God-given natural assets, but there's no real where you can say, well, his jab, right, or his left hook. He has a mean uppercut. We've seen that. And he has a good body attack at times. And he puts it together eventually. But not like Canelo or Crawford or even Lomachenko or even Haney, where you see what they're doing, you see what their plan is, you see how they're setting things up, you see how they go on high and low, high and low, high and low, setting something up, right? You can see it working, and you can see how they are dominant in that way. We don't really see that from Gervonta too much, right? But he does have great footwork, and he has excellent speed, and of course he has that power, right? But again, it's one of those things, right? So he doesn't have that. So right now we're gonna talk about, all right, so we're gonna move on, right? So his competition. Davis, he's faced some good guys, some formidable opponents, no doubt, but he has consistently taken non-top tier competition. Or should we say, has he taken on consistently top tier, right? So let's think about this. In his last six fights, we're going back to Gamboa. Gamboa was ranked number 2 at the time, but we all know Gamboa at that time was shot. He didn't look good. He couldn't finish him. Gamboa had a torn Achilles. It was a mess. He couldn't finish him. He was ranked number 2. Gamboa's a tough guy, no doubt. Number 2. That was the last time Gervonta Tank Davis took on a guy that was above a 7. Right? Because his next fight, Mario Barrios, which was a war. And it was probably dead even until the knockout, was ranked number 7. Then we go on to Rolly, ranked number 9. And Rolly was able to land on him over the top, do some things, keep him honest. Until, of course, Rolly's amateurish style just caught up with him. He couldn't compete with a more refined fighter like Gervonta Tank Davis. Then he fights Hector Garcia, okay, WBA belt holder. So he is ranked higher than all those previous guys. But he was 31 years old. fought no one of note, got this belt, and you see he got obliterated. Didn't really belong in the ring with him. Then he fights a number 9 guy in Pitbull Cruz. Has a hell of a time. Hell of a time. To the point where he doesn't want to give him the rematch. Now, he said his hand was broke and things like that, but it doesn't... in the first few rounds before his hand broke, Cruz was closing the distance. He was able to land to the body, close the distance, put his head down and do overhand rights and go to the body. That has nothing to do with his hands, with Gervonta's hands. That's everything to do with his IQ, his movements, how to get out effectively, how to avoid those shots effectively, how to tie up effectively. He didn't do any of those things. Couldn't even put him out. Cruz is a little guy. Couldn't do any of that. So again, then he fights Ryan Garcia, who was no champion at all. I think he was top 8 in the ring magazine ranking. But that's it. Right? So his resume, Tank's resume, lacks depth in a variety of opponents that you'd expect from a top pound-for-pound fighter. While he's defeated some credible names here and there, notable absence of elite competition it's crucial. Dominance in the ring is another crucial factor. He has scored impressive knockouts, but the performances have been marred by inconsistencies and moments of vulnerability. Like I said, he's been countered up top. He has been hit to the body. He has been pushed backward. It's his ability to hit like a mule and put in decent combinations that he can put together that has gotten him out. Right? Because he has fallen back in fights. He has been behind. Not terribly outworked, just his lack of work. Right? So he's never been dominant where from round 1 to round knockout, where he's like, this is a mismatch. That's happened once or twice. You don't see that from him a lot. Top pound-for-pound fighters not only win, but they win convincingly, right? They leave no doubt in the superiority in the ring. Davis' performances have been more uneven, raising questions about his ability to dominate at the highest level consistently. Again, we go back to those last 6 fights. He ends them in knockout, but sometimes it's like, okay, we got there. Now, his activity and performance over the years, right? There's been a problem. Whether it's issues with weight, promotional, legal. Davis' career has been marked by inconsistency and periods of inactivity. So, does Gervonta Tank Davis deserve a spot in the top 10 pound-for-pound rankings? Based on my evaluation of skill, competition, dominance, and consistency, the answer is no. While Davis does undoubtedly possess immense talent and potential, he still has work to do to solidify his place amongst the elite in the sport. He has to fight the elite. He's going to go into his 30s. He's past that point where we're like, hey, come on now. Now he's taking a great step in fighting Martin, the Ghost, coming up. Hopefully that snowballs into something great, because I think he has all the talent, if he puts it together, to be the best out of the era. But we haven't seen that. Where other guys are fighting each other, he has not done that. Remember, the pound-for-pound rankings are always up for debate, and it's essential to consider all the aspects before making your judgment, right? So keep watching, keep debating, keep supporting the sweet science. Until next time, stay safe and keep punching, and I'm out.